Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Ahmad Rifani, and in this video, I want to talk about descriptive text, narrative text, and procedural text. What is definition of those texts, and what the characteristic or features of those texts? The first one is I want to explain about descriptive text. Is a text that which say that a person or a thing is like. It purports to describe and reveal a particular person, animal, places, or things. Uh, Descriptive text has its own rules in writing, including the structure of or composition of which must be written in order. If you are prompted to create a descriptive text, then make sure the structure is as follows like this. First is identification. In this section, in the first paragraph, the goal is to identify something to be described or depicted. Explanation easy. Identification serves to introduce the reader about the object or something that we have described before. We tell about its properties. The goal is not to get one of those reader. Two is description. The section is in the second paragraph and so on for the next paragraph too. It contains the properties inherent in something that you already introduced, so the reader in the first paragraph. Next is characteristic of descriptive text. The characteristic of descriptive text is are important for you to take into account when writing. The descriptive text is not wrong. So make sure you use the following feature when using the genre will write descriptive text. First is using simple present tense. Why we use simple present tense? This is because we will describe a fact or a truth that is attached to something or someone, and one of the function of the simple present is to illustrate a fact or truth. Example like a fact, the sun is hot. Therefore, you should always use the first form of the verb or verb 1. Your example will illustrate the properties of your new car. The color of my car is silver and it can run up to 500 km per hour. Second one is because of its function is to describe something by explaining its properties, then the text will be found many descriptive adjective as handsome, beautiful, tall, small, big, or if the adjective is derived from the verb, then you will find additional or affixes like f, e, and in a tall. Third is in descriptive text, we will often find relating verb, which is as in a characteristic like in number 1. In Indonesia is often interpreted as is because the purpose or function descriptive text is to describe. Then definitely we will often find the word was, is. His name is Ivan. His height is 175 centimeter. Okay, for the second one is narrative text. What is narrative text? Narrative text is a story with complication or problematic event, and it tries to find the resolution to solve the problem. An important part of the narrative text is the narrative mode, the set of methods used to communicate the narrative through process narration. The purpose of narrative text is to amuse or to entertain the reader with a story. The generic structure of narrative text is first is orientation. Is set the scene where and when the story happen and introduce the participant of the story, who and what is involved in the story. Second is complication. This section tells the beginning of the problem, which leads to the crisis or climax of the main participant. Number 3 is resolution. In this section, the problem or the crisis is resolved, either is in happy ending or in a sad, tragic ending. And the last one is reorientation or coda. This is a closing remark to the story, and it is optional. It consists of a moral lesson, advice, or teaching from the writer or the author. And the characteristic or language feature of narrative text is, first one is it use past tense like kill, run, etc. So in the narrative text we use verb to. Second one is adverb of time like once, fun of time, one day, etc. Second one. Next is time conjunction, when, then, and suddenly. Next is a specific character. The character of the story is specific, not general, like Cinderella, Snow White, Alibaba, or my car, the car, tire, and many more. It uses action verb, a verb that show an action like kill, dog, on wall. Also, in last one, it's use direct speech. It is to make the story lively. Like, for example, Snow White said, "My name is Snow White." The direct speech use present tense. Okay, the third one or the last one is procedural text. The definition of procedural text or procedural text is a text that is designed to describe how something is achieved through a sequence of action or step. It explains how people perform different processes in a sequence of steps. This text use simple present tense, often imperative sentence. It also use temporal conjunction like such as first, second, then, next, finally. In other definition, a procedure is a specific series of action or operation which have to be executed in the same manner in order to always obtain the same result under the same circumstance. For example, cooking procedure or emergency procedure. Less precisely speaking, this word can indicate a sequence of tasks, step, decision, calculation, and process that when undertaken in the sequence laid down the procedure, the described result, product, or outcome. A procedure usually induce a change. It is in the scientific method. And the purpose of the procedural text is an anticipated outcome that is intended or that guides your planned action. A particular course of action intended to achieve a result or to help us do a task or make something. They can be a set of instruction or direction. The language feature of procedural text is in the procedural text we use imperative, example like cut, don't mix. We also use action verb, example like turn, put, mix. Next is connective, like first, next, then, finally, second, third. We also use adverbial phrase like for 5 minutes, 2 centimeter from the top, and like that. This is the generic structure of procedure text or procedural text. First one is the goal. It contains the purpose of the text. Example like how to make pizza or spaghetti. Second one is material or ingredient. It's content of the material that used in the process, but not all procedural texts need ingredient or material. Next is step. Step is content of the step to make something in the goal. Example like first wash the tomatoes, onions, and other vegetable. Second, cut them become slice, like that. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you for watching. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.